Today, I'm trying out the biggest open source AI model in the world. So at the time of recording, which is today, is 1st November 2023, Falcon 180B is the biggest open source AI model in production at the moment. 180B basically that means 180 billion parameters. That's a huge AI model, and it has been trained on 3.5 trillion tokens, including refined web, which is the dataset, and it's available under Falcon 180B TII license, TII being the TII UAE, which is the company that has open sourced this, and it is currently on the first place on the Open LLM leaderboard, okay, which is quite a big feat. And right now, as you know, in the non-open AI or non-open source model space, there's ChatGPT 4 that's doing really well, but that's not just one model, that's a combination of multiple models. So this Falcon 180B, it'll be wrong to train it or to compare it directly to ChatGPT 4 because that's a combination of different models. This is just one single model. It's a huge model, and what we'll be doing in this video is we are going to be testing it out. So I'm using Hugging Face Spaces, the link for which I'll be putting in the description of this YouTube video. You can use this locally or on your own AWS instance and try it out, but I highly recommend trying out this AI model in Hugging Face Spaces itself, because trying to start this on your local or on AWS will take some time. It's a huge AI model, like I said. At my company, at Armor AI, we use a lot of AI models, and we keep testing out new AI models to try and see which ones are really good. And Falcon 180B seems to be quite promising. And now it says it's really good for brainstorming ideas, discussing your holiday plans, and more. So I know it'll be really good for brainstorming ideas and discussing my holiday plans. But I'm interested in the more part. So I'm interested in whether it understands code like Golang and Rust. How good is it? That's what I'm really interested in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start giving it some prompts. Now on my other tabs, I do have the Golang playground and the Rust playground open. Now, in case you're new to this channel, you have to know that I teach a lot of Golang, a lot of Rust, a lot of system design. There are dedicated YouTube playlists on my channel for Rust, Golang, and where we build projects, where I show you how to learn Golang by actually building projects. And what I want to see here is how good this project is with those languages. And I have the Golang and the Rust playground open in different tabs. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and give it a command. So I'll say write Go code to encrypt a file. Now this does take a while, and it says I do not have access to your local computer. However, I can provide you with the sample code. Makes sense. So if there's a file called filename.txt, it's assuming, then it's going to encrypt it using AES for us. As you can see, it wasn't able to complete the code, and the reason for that is in the additional inputs, the number of tokens, max number of tokens, is very less, which is basically how big the output could be. And I'll just make it 1000, or actually, to be very safe, make it somewhere around 1500, and then I will again give it the same prompt, see what the response comes out to be. Again, it takes some time, and now it didn't say anything like I don't have access to your personal computer or whatever. I think if you restrict the number of tokens, it also puts a restriction on itself that it wants to create a code in just those many number of tokens. But then once you remove all the restrictions, give it a lot of tokens, it's able to iterate better. It's able to write better code, like using AES Cipher, which is what actually I was expecting. And I would have done something like this. So even though I have the Golang playground open, I might not be able to use this code because it needs the encrypted txt or the file name txt or the secret txt, whichever files this AI model is referring to. I might not be able to create those files in that playground itself. But looking at the approach, it looks like this is good. This is good code. And there's a huge chance it might not work, which is always the case with code generated from an AI model. In many cases, it will not work, and the reason is that there will be some kind of variables that's used or some kind of libraries that's used which are probably deprecated. So those kind of issues do come up, and you have to work on the code yourself as the human being. You have to work on the code yourself to make it work, or you have to chat with it more, chat with the AI model more to make the code work and make it debug its own code. So those are two different ways to make the code work. But just looking at the approach, I can tell that this is a very good AI model. It understands code. It can write really good code. It has a good approach. Now to take my hypothesis further, to see how good it is with writing code, let me check with this prompt, which is write Go code to create a neural network. Let's see what it does there. Neural network, now it requires a little bit more understanding, a better approach for a neural network. But from what I can see, it is following the right approach. I mean, this is something that I would have done. It has created a struct for the neuron, struct for the layers, and struct for the network, which are all interlinked to each other. It now has a function for forward feeding and backward propagation, both those functions that I was expecting. It also has a function for training the AI model, which is again something that I would have liked to see, and I can see it here. So the approach seems to be perfectly all right. So according to this AI model, this code is complete, and what we can do is we can simply copy and paste it. I'll go ahead and copy this in my Go playground and run it. Like I said, issues and errors are always there with code that's generated by an AI model, and that's completely understandable, and you'll have to change a few things here and there, and then it'll work for sure. For sure the code will work after you make a few changes. But then I can see that the approach being followed is good. Now this is for Golang. Now I want it to create some Rust code for me. So I'll say write a snake game in Rust. And there's a huge chance the game will not work, and that's completely all right. What I want to see, so there's an error, so I'll just refresh it. What I would like to see in the code is a function to help me initialize the position of the snake and the fruits, and then also usually the snake eats the fruits, right? So initialize the snake, draw the snake, and then to move the snake. So I've refreshed the screen. I'm going to adjust my tokens again to about 1500. I'm going to say write a snake game in Rust. So it's using the Piston game engine. Again, that's something that I will not be able to test in my Rust playground. Stopped generating code, and it wasn't able to complete it even with 1500 tokens. And to be honest, the snake game can be completed in less lines of code. So this doesn't look like the most efficient way to build the snake game, at least to me. So I would say that this part could have been better. But then let me try out one more code, one more prompt, which is write Rust code for me, or I can skip the for me part to automate git add, commit, and push commands for a project. Let's see what it's able to understand from this and create from this. So yeah, it's able to understand that I'm talking about git add, git commit, and git push commands. So it has that contextual understanding. What it's doing is it has a main function which is calling add, commit, and push functions, which the add function will have the new command, which is git add, and with dot basically means everything will be added, and then it's going to say fail to run git add if there's an issue. Similarly with git commit and git push. So I think this code looks really good to me. There's a possibility it might not work, but this looks pretty all right. It looks like this is the right approach. This is the right way to build it. Anyways, so guys, I will be doing more tests on this AI model. Just wanted to share this with you in case you are planning to use an AI model for your particular project or use case. You might want to come here, try it out with different prompts and see if this is right for your use case. Now, it doesn't have to be, the AI model doesn't have to be the biggest to be right for your use case. Maybe the smaller AI models are more effective for your particular use case, but the only way you'll know is if you come here and try. So thank you so much for watching this video. In the next videos, we'll try out more AI models, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Thank you so much.